Hello and welcome back to the XVI Dynasty newsletter. Week 2 is in the books and we're finally starting to see what some of these teams are made of, for better or worse. We've got some records, major power ranking shifts, some spicy GM chatter, and a special treat at the end. Let's start with new league records. Yes, already week 2 has broken both of our records set. Sunglasses at Night breaks his record for lowest points scored in a single game again. At this point, I think we're all wondering, how low can he go? He managed to score just 63.7 points this week, breaking his record by less than 1 point. On the bright side, Cam Scatabo, Jamison Williams, and Jake Ferguson actually put up respectable numbers. The record for most points in a single game has also been broken this week by Rippin' Darts, Sniffin' Farts. Talk about a clapback. After being last week's biggest faller, the Fart Sniffers turned all that slander into a statement win, scoring 196.52 points against 911, the number 2 team. ARSB went nuclear with 39.2 points. Russell Wilson threw it back to 2015 with a 37.3 point masterpiece, shattering the old record by 10 points. Message received. Now let's talk power rankings, and the drama hit hard this week with injuries, and the shakeup is real. Our biggest faller, 911, drops from number 2 all the way down to number 7. Aaron Jones and Joe Burrow both go down with injuries. Fortunately, 911 does have Jordan Mason, which helps soften the blow. Losing Joe Burrow for potentially 3 months is brutal, especially since Jamar Chase was part of that lethal stack. Our biggest riser this week is Rippin' Darts, Sniffin' Farts, as they bounce right back into the top 6 after their record-breaking win. Last week's pretender is this week's contender. Let's take a look at conference standings. The gap between conferences is starting to show. Conference A looks stronger top to bottom, and Conference B has an opportunity to defend its pride this week in a non-conference matchup. And remember, you only face one non-conference division each year, so you won't see this matchup for another 2 years. Make it count. Moving over to division standings, the North and the West look like the top divisions so far in the season. In the North, each team has at least one win, so there's no weak links here. In the West, they are the only division with 2 undefeated teams. These 2 divisions are looking like juggernauts heading into the in-season tournaments in weeks 4 through 6. Let's talk Spotlight Player of the Week. Last week, our spotlight was on Travis Etienne of the Pizza Boys. He put up a very solid performance with 16 points. He had 71 rushing yards and a touchdown in this performance. Nothing explosive, but steady production that should continue all season. This week, the spotlight shifts to Kenneth Walker from Read About Tracy's Cups. Seattle's backfield drama has finally starting to settle, and Ken Walker looks like he really could be that guy. This week, he faces up against the Saints in a matchup that could give him plenty of opportunities to rack up points and prove himself as the RB1. We've got a new segment on the show, and in this segment, we're going to discuss different rumors and news that we've heard from GMs around the league. Our first rumor puts us on upset alert, as one GM is boldly predicting that Sunglasses at Night is going to beat ACL Aces this week. Despite ACL Aces being the heavy favorite, betting on a team that has no quarterback is quite bold. Our next rumor addresses the Quinshon Judkins trade rumors. Some buzz around the league claims that Quinshon Judkins might be headed to Sunglasses at Night. However, GM Andrew Jaworski quickly shut that down, saying Judkins wants nothing to do with a 10-year rebuild. Shots fired. Now, an anonymous GM mentioned that falling in love with an offense and getting their weapons isn't a bad idea for good offenses. The only issue is you picked the 31st ranked offense in yards per game. If you couldn't tell who this was aimed at, well, it's KOC and Balls, as he is our league's biggest and only Vikings fan. This GM who submitted this rumor also believes that KOC and Balls is going to follow in the Vikings' footsteps and finish in last in their division. And then we have a spicy one. This is word for word what this GM said after struggling to trade with 2 very specific GMs. Yo, Billy Iron Grip Brasto, stop being such a fucking pansy and trade your goddamn players. Your roster is a steaming pile of shit, gayer than a pride parade in Glittertown, and you're clinging to it like a cheapskate's wallet. Stop jerking off to your fantasy dreams and start the fucking rebuild, you pathetic bum, before your team's stuck in the basement longer than a bad rom-com sequel. Connor Iron Grip Vandenheuvel, you're just as fucking bad. Your team's a dumpster fire gayer than a unicorn convention at a disco ball factory. and you're gripping those players tighter than a wet paper towel in a windstorm. Quit being a pussy, trade that garbage, and rebuild, you useless fuck. Your fantasy game's deader than a doornail. Fix it or fuck off. Yikes. Strong words. Hopefully those relationships can be mended, or at least provide us more entertainment. Now, to finish off the newsletter, we have a special treat. We have Rippin' Darts Sniffin' Farts GM Devin Schmidt in for an interview. Welcome to the newsletter, Devin. How are you feeling after last week's big win?
Feeling pretty good. Can't complain about a 200-point win last week, and best part, it's only the tip of the iceberg for the dart rippers and fart sniffers.
Sure. Your team's been on a roller coaster in the rankings. How high do you think the fart sniffers can climb?
I think it's pretty obvious and apparent to the rest of the league that we're a championship team, Rumors around the facilities are saying ring or bust this year for them.
Wow. High
Yeah.
expectations. Love to see it. The North looks like a really tough division heading into the in-season tournament. What is your confidence level at?
Yeah, so it'll be a good test for the fellas, get them in championship form before the playoffs start. We're in the hardest division. Everyone else is kind of bums, So it'll be nice playing good competition and getting the fellas ready for playoffs.
Sure. Love to hear it. Who on your team are you most excited for?
Yeah, so I think there's two guys here. Think about BTJ. Can't get much worse than him right now, So it's got to be uphill from here, and Omari on Hampton as well. He's just showing a little bit of what he's capable of, and
Sure.
he's due for a breakout.
Sure. And then the final question that we got for you today. Are there any GMs you'd like to call out
Yeah.
or anything you'd like to say to the rest of the league?
Yeah, so I guess there's one. I'm not sure what her name is, but the DM of Love is Golden. I don't know. There's not much to love about that team, and
Mm-hmm.
about the only golden thing on that team is an opportunity for an early pick next year. But yeah, there's not much going on. We appreciate an early bye week this year. Get the starters some rest, a nice easy week. Maybe even some backups can get into this week. And
Sure.
yeah, so forget her name, but that one, yeah,
That one. Yeah. Love is Golden. Not a
yeah.
great team, folks,
Mm-mm.
but making it work when they can. Anyways, thanks for coming on the show, Devin. Really appreciate having you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That wraps up week 3. We had records shattered, rankings flipped, and even some GM shade flying around. This is the last week before division matchups begin, so use this non-conference slate to prove which conference truly runs the XVI Dynasty. Good luck in week 3.